Hey, welcome to the Christian Media Marketing Show. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I hope that you are blessed. I hope the things that you are doing to make Jesus famous are working. I hope that He is guiding you. And I hope that today's episode is going to be a benefit for you as well. If you subscribe to our weekly marketing newsletter, well, you've seen us talking about a few of these issues that we're noticing. We run a lot of ads all around the world. That doesn't mean we know everything. In fact, it just means a lot of times we're making a lot of mistakes and we learn from those. One of the things that I've said over and over to our team is let's not make the same mistake over and over. Let's keep learning, which means you'll learn stuff and some things work and then some things stop working. Some things that worked really well now don't work as well when it comes to Christian media marketing and digital engagement. And part of that is because the platforms themselves are changing all of the time. And so if you're following on the weekly marketing newsletter, and if you don't get that, go to our KavanaughMedia.com website. You can subscribe there. It's just 4 or 5 articles every week that comes out about marketing and just things like that that apply straight to you on the field. And so if you get that, you've been seeing that we've been talking about a couple of these issues that we have been facing and seeing. And last week I talked about just some of the AI challenges, a lot of stuff going on there. There just seems to be a lot of issues going on. And what I want to share with you today is a change of policy in one sense. I think that this is a change. Regardless if it's a change or not, it's being applied now in ways that I haven't seen before. Let me describe the situation to you, and then we'll dive straight into Meta's own words about these types of ads. In American baseball, one of the words that you can use real quick if you want to get thrown out of a baseball game is the word you. And so we've known this for years now, and I've taught about this that words like we are really powerful. We have discovered, we get together, the power of we. And this is especially important for people who think, well, maybe they're the only ones who believe in Jesus or want to know about Jesus or want to study the Bible. So we is a really powerful word. But one of the reasons that I think it's really important to use that word is because the word you can get you in trouble really fast. If you're in a baseball game and you're watching it or you're in the game itself and you argue with the umpire and you say words like you are blind or you've got to be kidding, well, it's a good way for you to get thrown out of the game. And so we've known that using the word you itself can be a challenge and you need to be really, really careful. But what we're seeing now is that Meta is looking not only at the word you, but what we ascribe to the person who is seeing the ad. And there are some specific things, with religion being one of those, that we believe is causing an uptick in ads being rejected or maybe even ad accounts being rejected. So let's dive into what Meta themselves says about just what you can and can't do. So when it comes to Meta and their privacy policy, privacy violations, personal attributes in their advertising policies, this is really, really interesting. So their own words, we do not allow advertisers to run ads that share or ask for private information. Well, I know that, and you probably know that too. PII. This is really important from cybersecurity, making sure that data is secure, but also just in where that data is being stored or where it's being used. PII is really, really important. And so if you're using even a tool like Disciple Tools, make sure you're following best practices because that person's contact information or their personal identifiable information is very, very valuable. So where they live, financial information, medical information, all of that. All right. So yes, we know that. We know that we shouldn't be using, storing, doing ads about that. But where it comes into it is it talks about personal attributes. And so when you're creating the ad, the very first example of a violating ad it gives here is in religion. And so the example ad text here is meet other Jewish singles. And the violating content is that the ad implies that the individual's religion is Jewish. And so if your ad in Meta's idea here makes someone think that you know their religious affiliation, then that can get your ad into trouble. And so they say here, well, then take this opportunity to highlight what someone who joins this group can expect as a member. Okay, so I don't know what you would put there for sure, but the positive, not the negative, and then also not implying that the other person is a Muslim, Jewish, Christian, whatever that might be. So that's one of them. All right. When you go through this, then it gives others sexual orientation or practices, gender identity, things like disability that come into it, their physical health. So seeing how they feel. Have you been diagnosed with cancer? Come to our clinic for treatment is the example given there. So you can't do that. There's other ones that they give to it, their financial status, which we can know that one, and that makes sense. Are you bankrupt? Well, we have solutions. So I don't think we would do stuff like that. I don't think we would do ones as it says here about voting, your voting status, or your criminal record. But there are other ones that come into this when we're thinking about this. The ads that we do for people, here's one on age. If it implies something about the person's age, are you a college age student? We'd love to meet up with you. That could get you into trouble. And so I think the key here is we really need to be thinking through the language and even the video content itself that we're putting into our ads. And so being careful, it says here you can use the word you as long as your ad doesn't mention any of the prohibited personal attributes and it complies with Meta's advertising standards. So it's always important to be looking at their advertising standards and just checking all of that out. But I think this is really interesting here. And it's something that we're going to have to really be playing with is the words themselves that we use in the ads. We need to make sure that we don't talk bad about another religion. We don't imply certain things and that we're not doing the negative. So this is one of the ones in here is just talking about their physical and mental health. If you talk about things like, hey, do you feel discouraged? Have you felt depressed? So, yes, we're wanting to bring hope and peace and these things to people, but we have to be careful about the words that we use. So, play with this, experiment with this, be very careful with this. We would love to hear from you if you're having ads or you have some ad copy headlines or the copy or the video content that has been flagged by Meta. As I said in the previous episode last week, I think that they're using AI to look at this more and more. And so the words that we use, we need to really, really be thinking through them. What can come from this? Well, I think there's a few things that can come from it. I think that we have to be careful about the words and the videos we do. But I think we're going to have to also really come back to just some of these basics when we're using these ads. Finding ways to offer to pray for people, offering a Bible to people, doing creation to Christ types of videos, finding these kind of things. And then instead of talking about the negative, talking about the positive. Instead of talking about feeling depressed, we talk about having joy that we have found, things like that. And so like I said, we're going to continue to probably to make some mistakes and be testing on this. We will be sharing with you even more concrete examples of things that we're seeing that is getting flagged or is not getting flagged. What's always been frustrating is that it seems like in some countries it works and in other countries it doesn't. I think that's going to continue. The laws are changing. Certain countries put certain restrictions on different ones, but we do need to be aware of this and of this policy the Meta is putting forth. And so always be searching on these things, be thinking through, try out different things. If you get an ad that gets rejected, really look at the language and look at the videos as well. All right. Well, I hope that helps you and at least makes you aware of some of the things that are happening that are out there. We will keep pressing forward. We hope that you will as well. As always, we'd love to hear from you. Reach out to me. Let me know what you're seeing. If you have knowledge and things that you're discovering, share it. We would love to learn from you. That's why we do our podcast. That's why we do our newsletter, is we're just trying to share what we're learning. And we want to learn from you as well as we all push forward to make Jesus famous, to begin the process of seeing his kingdom take place all around the world, that these unreached people groups can know about Jesus, that your neighbors can, so that we can see the renewal of all things. So keep pressing forward and making Jesus famous. Thanks for hanging out with me today. May God bless your efforts. Take care and bye for now.